I'd like to talk a little bit more about um, two elements, and you kind of touched on it already with the shade room. But people like to criticize the White House. They like to
Mm,
criticize how they do things, about how they move. But between the speech that Biden gave in Maryland when he was campaigning for Westmore for governor, and the basically clapback that the White House account put out towards Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, and others who actually received PPP loans. What was your take on the way that the White House basically flexed this week, especially around the whole issue of student loans?
the first thing I thought was finally, like, enough. Like, enough. Let's just call it what it is. They weren't lying, they weren't clapping back. I just think they were stating factual statements, and that's how it should be. The hypocrisy that Republicans showed regarding the student loans issue. Finally, I don't know if you saw this, I'll send it to you, but there was a comments under the Taylor Greene tweet specifically that said, "Be careful, Democrats. If you start doing more stuff like this, you might rile up the base and get enthusiasm even higher than it already is." It was sarcasm to say, "We get it. All the bills and everything that you're doing is significant. We want to see some of this stuff too." This is what I mean by fire with fire. This is what I mean by just standing up for yourself. And Democrats have done, I think, a better job in the last 2 years than they've ever done with that. So I'm perfectly fine with it. Republicans could cry and whine. They're a bunch of snowflakes. Before you tell me what you kind of think about it, I have a question for you. I do not think Biden knew about this, but how high do you think it goes? Do you think it's Klain, or do you think it's the press secretary? Like, someone, it wasn't just like we saw the picture of the woman who was running the account, who was very capable, but I'm pretty sure she had to get clearance to do something like this. Or do you think it was just they trusted her to do her job and she made the right call? What do you think?
Well, I think it's they trusted her to do her job and they made the right call. It's you have to know what your parameters are. You have to be able to take chances. You have to be able to take risks. You have to be relevant. And the thing is, what all that it was funny because somebody said the Democrats are harassing the Republicans. That's not harassment. That's just putting the truth out there. Someone else said they were doxing him. That's not doxing someone. Um, it's literally calling out hypocrisy, and I think it is the fight back that a lot of people want to see from Democrats, but it's also I think and Dark Brandon is a little bit, and maybe Dark Brandon should have been a precursor because they didn't come up with Dark Brandon, but they definitely backed Dark Brandon and they leaned in Dark Brandon. But here's a question: and I don't know what the answer is, so I'm not asking this from the standpoint of pessimism or from a standpoint of like, well, do you want to do the rhetorical? This is a legitimate question. Do you want a White House that is on clapback drag 24/7, or do you want a White House that has the ability to do it but does it as needed, as necessary? You know what I'm saying? Is it going to become just the clapback account, or is it going to become we're going to do what we need to do, what we're here to do in a normal dry manner, but every now and then we're going to get loose. I mean, what do you think it'll be, and what do you want to see it be?
I think the question to the answer to both your questions is the same answer for me. Is It's going to be the latter. It's going to be you're in the boxing game a little bit, not as a participant, but in the outside world of it. A boxer will jab, 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 and then he'll throw his uppercut when he needs to, and that's what this was for me. They had a great week, and Republicans went out in full force to try to diminish that week, and it was a moment for us to give an uppercut. I do not expect this. Remember, it only happened to it was only like 6 tweets. It wasn't like every single tweet out there they were clapping back. It was like specific targets, and they were just like, we're going to send a couple shots here and then we're going to walk away. I don't expect this to continue. I just expect it to come once in a while. And look, it was effective. It was extremely effective. It made the shade room. It was trending. It was talked about for 2 whole days. So it was one of those things where I think it's going to be the latter. I think they're going to jab, 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 jab. uppercut, uppercut. We saw Republicans get mad that Biden went after MAGA Republicans. He called them semi-fascists. They're going to take their shots. But here's the thing, John. These aren't shots. They're just truthful statements. And Republicans are just mad that Democrats are fighting back. I think that's the big problem here. So if that answers your questions, I think they're going to take their shots when they see it as necessary.